Let's get into it.
Welcome to another episode of VOV Sports. My name is Sonny.
This is Sebastian.
And I'm Zach.
And we're going to get right into it. What a
right
heartbreaker, FAU.
Yeah, right into that.
Heartbreaker.
I haven't stopped crying.
So what was your guys, Zach, you can go first. What was your experience like during watching the game, and like what did you think of that, how it played out?
It was so like the highs were so high, and it just came crashing down all in 1 second. It felt like we were dominating the entire game, had a 14-point lead at one point. Towards the end, obviously the rebounding situation, we couldn't rebound a ball to save our lives, and that kind of messed us up. I think there were a couple little BS calls going on, but that helped San Diego State as far as free throws go. 71-72, game winner last second. So the whole time I was really hyped, and then just comes down to the last 2 seconds of the game. You get one shot off, and that determines the whole thing. And it's very heartbreaking, but nonetheless for FAU, they had an incredible season. And just reaching the Final Four in general is just insane. So
it's crazy.
Ups to them for real. But,
congratulations to them.
That's a heartbreaker. It would have been crazy to see them in the finals 100%.
Yeah. What about you, Seb?
That was an unbelievable game, unbelievable run by FAU. I mean, just the fact that they got to the Final Four was just historical for them and for South Florida. I was up in Tin Roof in Delray, and of course it was literally just all FAU kids and alumni, and I mean the whole place was just jumping the whole game. And then
I can just imagine the crowd at the last
just right at the end.
Sucked the life out of the place. It was crazy. It was crazy, unbelievable. I literally just stood there with my jaw just dropped on the floor. I was like, oh, I can't believe that just happened. Like, okay, we missed that.
What do you think
layup.
led up to that? Like,
I mean, I think just the fact that we weren't delivering in the crunch. Obviously they had their free throws that they were missing, and we were just giving them that second chance, rebound, and that definitely took a toll. And I guess I do feel like because of the way that FAU has been playing this tournament with their fast-paced offense and their fast-paced transitions, they didn't really recollect themselves. We had a 15-point lead, and we just kept playing as if we were down 10. It's like, yo, calm down.
Slow down the pace.
All these technical things come into play, and they didn't want to slow down the pace. They just kept pushing, and then they were, caught off guard on defense on a lot of, possessions where they would miss, and San Diego State would come down with the ball. And I just feel like it was just when it came down to the crunch time to the last, 2 minutes of the game, they just weren't really keeping themselves like locked in, really just pushing the pace the whole time. And San Diego State took advantage of that. So
I would say really San Diego State just executed a lot better towards the end of the game with rebounding. I mean, the thing is the NCAA, like the college basketball product, isn't the greatest, so you win within margins, right? And when it comes to like certain opportunities that present themselves in the game, like those missed free throws, you gotta capitalize on that. And I think another part of that was also watching the second half. San Diego State got into foul trouble like relatively early, and then FAU was in the bonus. While they were in the bonus, they just didn't hit their free throws. Like they weren't hitting their free throws. And I'm watching the game, and like that's 1 point, 2 point. They ended up losing by a point. So those missed opportunities and those kind of like small mistakes are what leads up to that. I mean, again, credit to San Diego State. They're a much bigger team, much more physical team, and that really played out towards the end in their benefit because they were able to just play. Like I think for the last like 4 or 5 minutes of the game, there wasn't a lot of points scored, and that's the exact type of game that San Diego State would game plan for.
Exactly.
With like our high-powered offense. So it was it was a sad loss, especially 1 point buzzer beater. But what are you?
It kind of felt like when we were up by that many points, like I think 14, 15, it felt like we were just taking so many unnecessary shots and way too quickly, like random fadeaway threes and stuff. Like what are we doing here? We need to bring down the clock, time management. We need to keep the lead going, but. I mean, outside of that, it was just like the free throw thing. We had our chances because even they were missing their free throws in the end. They had like I think it was two chances
Yeah.
in the last like 2 minutes, and one of the chances the guy missed both of the free throws, and we were still up by 3 or 4, and we just couldn't capitalize on any of it. Like even the rebounds that we did get, we were giving it right back anyways off turnovers.
Yeah, they rebounded a lot better. But did you guys there was another South Florida team in there, University of Miami. Did you guys end up watching that game at all, or
I caught a little bit of it.
Were you too sad? Were you too sad after the FAU game?
Dude, I low-key was a little too sad. I didn't want to watch it, but I did catch the beginning. I saw I think UConn won 9-0 to start the game, and they just were just in the lead the entire time. Miami couldn't catch up. So UConn's been like that all season. They've been really good. Exactly. They have a really good roster.
I would say they're probably like the only favorite left in the tournament.
I think they're gonna win it.
Everyone else was just underdogs.
Most likely gonna win it.
Yeah. I mean, they got probably the most NBA ready player right in the tournament still.
It's good when there's like one Cinderella and then there's like 3 really good teams. But now you see like there was 3 Cinderellas and 1 really good team with UConn. So I mean, I guess for the NCAA, their ratings, UConn kind of saved their ratings because in FAU, Miami. National championship game. I don't know how well that would have done, but but on the other side of the bracket, to the women's side, Caitlin Clark.
Speaking of ratings, right?
They've actually beaten. I think their ratings, like the NCAA women's tournament, some of their games have beaten any primetime game on NBA on ESPN. I was watching that on the Dan Le Batard show.
I got a quote about that actually. It's from this guy named Anthony Krupe from the Sportico.com, and that game actually averaged 2.5 million viewers. And by way of comparison, the most watched NBA game this year was March 5th, the Knicks Celtics overtime, and that was 2.1 million.
Crazy.
So you can see the traction that they're getting. This is what happens when you have a star. When you guys have a star like Caitlin Clark, I mean, it attracts so much attention. It's so fun to watch, and she's just that good. I mean, did you watch her play?
40-point triple-double. She scored, I want to say, 41 or something like that. Like
I think it was 41.
Yeah, 41. The team scored 77.
Yeah.
She scored 41. I don't want to say she had close to it. She either had a triple double or she was very close to a triple double.
Yeah, she had 41, 8, and 6. She had. So I mean, pretty close to another triple double, but still like unbelievable. She's literally single-handedly carrying.
Yeah,
this team. And
she's single-handedly gonna win the tournament.
Yeah, how crazy!
In my opinion.
And I mean, they beat South Carolina, who were 36-0. This was their first loss in 42 games. Like,
she's special. Bro.
I didn't even know
special.
that. I didn't even know that. That's
crazy. and you can like just see it in her gameplay, the way she moves, the way she has handles, the way she passes the ball. I mean, dude, she's got it all. She's a jack of all trades on there, and she can score like lights out.
I mean, it's great for like women's sports in general, and it's great. Like, I guess now, I mean, you have a player that you can market really well because I guess all our eyes are on her, all our attention is on her, and this is better for the WNBA too because now you can really promote, like, because everyone's watching already. So now you can really promote Caitlin Clark and, her scoring. And she's definitely, I think the craziest part is she has 1 more year of eligibility because for the WNBA draft, you have to be a junior at least to be able to be eligible. So she has 1 more year of eligibility. Yep. So, props to that, man. And I think that's what, just to stay on this topic like a little bit more, I think that year of eligibility is what creates a better product for the women's side of the basketball bracket because these players have to develop and they have to grow within the system. Whereas in the NCAA, you see a lot more variability because you have a lot of one and dones. You have a lot of players that are just there for 1 year so that they could transition. And you also see a variety of leagues where the men can go to. So the men can go to like Europe. They could play in the G League. They could go to different areas. They go to Australia. So there's a variety of options for the men to go and take their talents to another place and get paid versus just going to the NCAA. I think the NIL deal helps that situation for the NCAA because they get kind of better players. But I think that's one of the reasons we see such a staunch difference between the quality of the NCAA men's product and the quality of the women's NCAA product.
You also got those other up and coming women's athletes, especially in basketball. I've had an eye on Paige Beckers for some time. She's been hurt. She was hurt this year, I think, for the most part, but she's still young. I think she's got one more year as well of eligibility. She's the one that plays for UConn, that blonde girl.
Okay.
And again, I think she has that potential too. We'll see how she comes back from her injury, but again, like kind of like what you guys were saying about that, the eligibility really helps. And I mean, it's the sport in general for women's is growing, both at the college level and at a professional level. I just see it become more and more popular amongst
Yep.
everybody. So
Yep.
Yeah, wait for
Do you guys
Yeah,
know
I'm
about the team like outside of Caitlin Clark? Like,
on Iowa,
yeah,
nah.
she's really like the engine of that team, right?
Oh, bro,
She's in a
she's the heart and
single-handedly.
she's the heart and soul of the entire like everything. I mean, they play really good defense too. They had their bench when their bench was in, they were putting up buckets for them, which helped them a lot. So, it
Games
was
today at 3:30.
wait
It's kind of
there,
early.
The championship is today at 3:30. Yep.
dude. What
So
are
who do you
doing?
guys think is gonna win? What's your
What
guys'
y'all
pick?
doing?
I'm vibing. Z, if you want to just like hang out.
What's your guys' pick?
Yeah, I'm down.
Iowa.
But yeah, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Iowa just because the main star in LSU is their center. She's really good, Angel Reese, and I just don't think Iowa. I'm sorry, I just don't think the Tigers have enough like on the guard standpoint to keep a hold of Caitlin Clark. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't know who can stop her because I haven't seen it. I mean, she's dropped 2 40-point games
she's generational.
in a row, so it's hard to say, but I really do think Iowa's got this.
Yeah, same. I got Iowa.
They are coached really well though on the Tiger side. And I don't know.
That's a LSU side's a very disciplined team, especially for
Yeah.
women's.
Yeah.
All right, so sticking with basketball, I wanted to move on to the NBA and talk about the MVP race with
Talk about
Jokic, Embiid.
MVP.
Yeah, MVP, most valuable player.
Yep.
So who do you guys like? What do you guys think about that debate going on right now? And what do you guys think the real who do you guys think the real MVP is?
Honestly, I'm gonna go with like kind of a left field hit out of the park. I'm gonna say Domantas Sabonis just because of the impact he's had in Sacramento.
I don't even think he's in the 3, buddy.
He's not, but he's had a great season, and like I said, the impact he's had on the team in general, and it's just it to me goes more than just stats and stuff. Just I mean, man, the Kings were irrelevant until like last month. All of a sudden, now here they are, second, third in the West, and
The third,
and locked in a playoff spot, first time in like 16 years. And I mean that's where players have the most impacts. You come in. He came from Indiana. They pretty much had a decent, young team already. De'Aaron Fox and stuff like that. I don't even know is Bagley still on the team, but
no.
yeah. So for Sabonis to come in and really mesh well with their play style and kind of in a way even lead the team. He has I have seen him stepped up in moments as a leader and kind of just now push them over the top, and now here they are in the playoff spot as a top seed. That to me is stands out more than statistics. I mean, yeah, you can argue Jokic, of course, had a great year. Tatum had a great year. Giannis had a great year, but so like I said, Sabonis really came in and really really took that Sacramento team over the edge, leading them pretty much in most categories. I think except scoring, but that would be my.
I really like that take actually because it it goes to show it is a
crazy hot take.
It definitely is a hot take, definitely, but it goes to show like what makes a player valuable and how valuable is Sabonis to the Kings. I mean, you have a good point there, but I mean for me as far as MVP race, for me it's Embiid, Jokic. Every time I watch him, I flip flop because I want to give it to Embiid, but then every time I watch Jokic, I mean, the other day he dropped, I think it was 25 points, 17 rebounds, 12 assists. So it's like Dude, the guy does everything. How much
He's
more valuable
so
can you
good.
get? He is
He's
so
so
good.
good.
He is a general on the floor, and he's just unbelievable. And it's hard not to. I mean, he's one that game that he had the other day with the 25, 17, and 12. He joins Wilt Chamberlain and Oscar Robinson as the only players in NBA history to drop 10 games of 20, 15, and 10 in a season.
He's
So
insane.
he's just
insane.
doing like record stuff, and it's unbelievable. And it's like, do we want to give him it again? But
bro,
I
think he deserves it. And I think the whole like the coverage of him and the whole like, oh, like, you know, Jokic doesn't play defense, he's an advanced. Bro, watch a game. Like this whole take where people are like, oh, like the eye test. Watch a game, dude. He'll put up 25. You'll see him pass the ball. You'll see him rebound well. Like there's a meme that he never, like, his arms are always bleeding because he's always trying to get a rebound. And the thing is, so many people will say, oh, it's like stat padding, but it's like those stats matter. The only game there was a stat, I want to say JJ Redick said it a couple months ago on ESPN, where he was like, in the games that Jokic has a triple double, they're undefeated. Dating back to last season, they were 27-0. They did lose a game earlier this season where he had a triple double, so that record's out the window. But those stats matter. It's not just stat padding. 100%. It's something that contributes to the game.
I think in his position, you can't really stat pad. I mean, he's the big man.
Yeah,
he's supposed to get rebounds. You know, I mean, what sets him apart is the assists, his IQ, and his
passing,
assists, his ball movement. Yeah, that sets him apart from everybody else.
And that game that he did
scoring.
That game he did was against the 76ers too. He was up against Embiid in that game.
No, the one, was it this week?
It was on the 28th. Yeah.
Yeah, Embiid didn't play that game. They made a big deal. They made a big deal about that. They made a big deal about that because it was head to head, and the media had, I want to say, Kendrick Perkins was like, "Oh, I don't like that you're not going head to head with Jokic because it's all fucking a narrative and shit." And so he's like, "I don't like that you're ducking that." And then, I mean, they're all, obviously, each team is preparing for the playoffs and they're trying to stay healthy for the playoffs. And I think it was a back-to-back for Philadelphia, so they didn't want to play Embiid on that.
Yeah,
but I mean, Joel Embiid he's no pushover either. I just don't like the statements that come out where he's like, oh, like, I'm not appreciated enough and I'm not gonna win the MVP again. Like, bro, just ball. Like I mean, the thing with Jokic is like, at least Jokic isn't like out here like, oh, like he you can kind of see that he's affected by it because they're all saying that he's gonna get it for no reason when he's like, bro, I'm putting in work. But
right, yeah.
I think
that's another thing too, where like he's the reason why he's winning is maybe because he's not so concerned about it. He's just out there hooping.
But so much of it, I think, again, like back to what Seb was saying, was the definition of MVP, right? How do you define that? Because you could say Domantas Sabonis, like for the Kings, he's been great for them. I mean, like Jimmy Butler for us, say the past couple of years, that's our MVP. That's the reason that we kind of go as far as we do in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And then different teams, right? Different teams have different like MVPs. It really depends like how you quantify like most valuable player. Like, is it the best player in the league? Because if it's the best player in the league, it's not necessarily, you know, I wouldn't say it's Jokic or Embiid. It might be Giannis. It could be LeBron. But again, like I think there's a threshold you hit in the NBA as a star player where you are disqualified from the MVP because of how great you already are. Right, so players like Steph won the unanimous MVP, and then he won the MVP that one year, and he's kind of, I think, because they won the championships, he's transcended into that type of area where it's like he's not gonna, like, they're not gonna give him MVP. Like LeBron after the Heat years, he's not whatever the hype person is that year. I feel like that's the person who gets it, unless it's like James Harden, poor James Harden.
Yeah, I remember
that one year.
I think it was last season, but I think I did say it again this season. At least for the past couple of years, and it's somebody that I want to see at one point win the MVP, and I think he will. Luka Doncic, of course. I mean, he also is a super valuable. Probably is the franchise player pretty much for Dallas, even with Kyrie.
Yeah.
And we played them last night, right?
Yeah, we won.
We won. I mean, that was to kind of lock in the 7th seed. We still have a couple games coming up too, so we can actually pass Brooklyn because I think we have a way easier schedule the last 4 games than they do.
But we suck, dude. Like we
Oh
had
my
like,
God.
tiebreaker.
Yeah, I just rather be the 6th seed and at least make it because I'm not saying we don't have a chance in the play-in. Of course we do, but like I'd rather not play in the play-in.
I think I think the whole team is just disinterested from wanting to play this season. They don't
really know what it is.
They're not. I mean, dude, I think like I was looking at the salary cap the other day because I was like, oh, like what are they're gonna have to do something in summer, right?
Yeah.
Dude, Kyle Lowry's getting 28 mil.
Get rid of
Duncan Robinson's making like
Lowry.
18. You can't play them.
We have some of the
can't
worst
play
contracts
them
in the league on our team,
and you can't play Duncan Robinson because then they just attack him on defense.
Dude, I'd take Caitlin Clark right now over Kyle Lowry. I'm not even kidding.
In the men, you know it's crazy because
yes, in
like
the
that story, like
send them to China.
No, it's a story on that because I think Caitlin Clark, when she was playing when she was younger, she was like there was no AAU team that had like a girls AAU team, so she played on the boys AAU team, and then the boys won, and then the parents were complaining that she shouldn't be able to play with the boys because they
That's
won.
Crazy.
Like, I guess like she contributed. That's just. But again, like I would rather take anybody over Lowry at this point. I'd take a Costco employee. You know what I'm saying? Like he is so
Sonny and Costco employees.
$28 million, dude.
Yeah,
and
you're
like not doing anything. And
then
it's way
even
too much.
I mean, even Hero, to my opinion, hasn't played up to like his potential.
Oh yeah,
at all
$24 million.
I feel like
and he's still on his last.
Yeah, he hasn't gotten the
next year. That's his big, checks are going to be hitting.
He hasn't gotten the cap hit yet.
Yeah, exactly. Well, like I said, he's still been on his rookie year, contract, but next year is when the big contract comes into play, and that's where it's like, okay, no choice. Like you got to show up. You got to start.
I mean, I'm ready. Whatever they need to do to make the team better.
Yeah,
they got it because Bam is amazing. Jimmy is, amazing. Like if he's kind of interested in playing, like when he wants to play.
Yeah, he's also old too.
Yeah, exactly. Like you're losing years, and you're like they signed Jimmy to an extension, so he's making the max. I think next year he's making like 50 something mil. So again, these players like you gotta the Heat have to do something. Like I'm so surprised at the All-Star when the trade deadline. We didn't do anything. All we made was we traded a second round pick when everyone was going for second round picks. Like everyone, the trade deadline day, everyone's being traded for second round picks. We traded Dwayne Dedmon and a second round pick just to dump him for cash considerations.
Right.
Like,
I think that's one thing that's really important is that it starts at the top. It starts with your office, and I mean. The man is like he's asleep right now. We're not doing anything to help our players out, to help our stars out, and it's getting boring and it's getting annoying to watch. And I'm sure the players are frustrated.
Oh, dude, have you seen Heat Twitter?
Jimmy and Bam. Oh,
have you seen Heat Twitter?
Oh, they go off every game. It's
I mean, I don't know how. Like, again, I know this is a sports show, and I know that we cover sports and everything. I don't know how people are so invested into that to where like they watch every single game. Because I could not watch every single game with Kyle Lowry as my point guard.
This year I could not.
It's terrible. And I think the players are also kind of in on it because I think this year you're seeing a lot more attitude from like Jimmy and Bam than you've seen in like recent years past where he's like, yeah, man, I mean we just don't care.
Yeah, we definitely got to do something.
Dude, we should have got Kyrie. We should have traded for Kyrie.
We should have got Mitchell.
We should have got Mitchell too.
Yeah, we should have traded Mitchell too.
I mean, we had chances to put our name on all of these players, and it's like, why didn't we make any moves for anything?
And Mitchell said he wanted to come to Miami.
Yeah,
like he thought he was coming to Miami. He was training with Bam all summer. He was like,
and he has a great relationship with Wade too.
Exactly.
Yeah. And speaking of Wade, Hall of Fame. How do we feel about that?
Hey,
that's great. Well deserved. I think the NBA Hall of Fame is something that's different than the NFL Hall of Fame. I feel like the NFL Hall of Fame has like more prestige or whatever. But the NBA Hall of Fame is still a big deal. Like he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, Dwayne Wade. So, kudos to him. Great for the city of Miami. Great for, the sport of basketball and one of the most underrated guards probably in the sport, right? People talk about Jordan, they talk about Kobe. You don't really hear any mention of Dwayne Wade.
And you look at how many points he scored in his career without shooting threes. He didn't shoot threes.
Yeah.
So I mean, he was unreal in the paint, unreal at mid range. His whole
and the
game
defense,
amazing.
I think his like blocks, like he's like second to Michael Jordan, or he's like one of the best, like
blocks and steals.
But blocks and steals. Defender. He's one of the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he had such a good all-around game. It was just what a good time it was, and like how exciting it was to go to Heat games back then.
Yeah. How entertaining they were.
Like, oh my God, so fun.
Even this season, well, I've only been to one this season, but I mean, again, this is just, I don't know what we're doing, man. We definitely just gotta look forward to the playoffs. Hopefully stay locked in, somewhat locked in. Who knows if we make a deep run. With this team, it's really unpredictable, especially because Jimmy can just turn the switch on any given moment.
And every year, I feel like I go to at least one game, but this year I couldn't I couldn't pull myself to go to a game. I feel like I wasn't too interested.
Dude, I think we might match up with Boston, or if we match up with one, like if we're the 7th seed, we match up with. Let me check real quick. We match up with.
Second in the East is Milwaukee, I want to say.
Yeah,
no, Boston.
We match up with Boston, Milwaukee, like we're getting slammed.
I think we can beat Philly, maybe. Maybe Cleveland. We can put up a fight, but the top two, no. Boston, Milwaukee.
We don't have any. There's people who are saying we should tank. We should, because Bam has a hip injury. Jimmy's old. Just try to get a lottery pick.
It's too late for that.
Try to get a lottery pick.
Games. Yeah.
NBA, CBA.
Go ahead and speak on it.
I was gonna talk. I actually have screenshots from like Draymond Green, and people were like, because he was complaining about the CBA. So someone said, "You mean he said something? I want to say, you mean the people who like?" Someone replied to his tweet, was like, "You mean the people who get millions to play a sport?" Because he was complaining, and Draymond said, "You mean the people who generate billions to make millions? Yeah, those people." And I mean, I think like this is the first time you kind of see that type of sentiment, like, and I love it. I love that
perspective, man.
I love that. And he's right. Someone screenshotted this account called Warriors World. They screenshotted an ESPN article, I want to say, that covered basically like the luxury tax and what the new CBA does to teams that spend over the cap and everything. And quoting the ESPN report, it says the NBA is curbing the ability of the highest spending teams such as the Golden State Warriors and LA Clippers to continue running up salary and luxury tax spending while still maintaining mechanisms to add talent to the roster. The NBA is implementing a second salary cap apron, $17.5 million over the tax line, and those teams will no longer have access to the taxpayer mid-level in free agency. Those changes will be eased into the salary cap over a period of years. Under these changes, Golden State's Dante Vincenzo, Milwaukee's Joe Ingles, Boston's Danilo Gallinari, wow, and former Clippers guard John Wall wouldn't have been able to sign with those teams last summer. So what's your guys' reaction to that?
Yeah, that's insane, because, and not that I think it's a bad thing or a good thing, I guess. It's just now you got to see teams really make these moves, because I mean, like you were talking about earlier with the Golden State Warriors. I mean, currently I'm on the cap space page right now on Spot Track, and they are minus 76 under the cap, $76 million. So I mean, they got to cut. They got to cut.
According to
teams are going to be changing. People are going to be going different places.
But I think just to like, I guess, give more context on that, from Keith Smith NBA, he tweeted, for this season there are these are the teams that are estimated to be over the $17.5 million threshold above the luxury tax, which is where the new CBA will set some new restrictions. The Clippers are 40.9, the Warriors are 39.2, the Bucks are 28.6, the Celtics are 25.2, the Mavericks are 22.9, and the Suns are 22.1 mil. The money is how far over. So the 17.5 mil, like, plus the 40.9. I mean, I think it's crazy to penalize teams that are spending money on their players. Like a lot of Warriors fans came yesterday and they were critiquing the hell out of this move, because like a lot of those players, like, they drafted real good and they signed good. They did good in free agency and they're paying their players. Like, you're penalizing teams for giving money to their players, for spending money on their players. I don't think that's good. I think that's it's flawed, and You're not going to be able to see teams get like a lot of good role players and stuff if they can't spend that much money, and that's the league we live in where you need to spend that much. And I think Draymond is one of the staunchest critics of it, saying that like, yo, we're the ones who generate all this money. We're the ones who make this money. I think this is one of the first times you kind of see like this type of rhetoric, at least like publicly from, a mainstream superstar in Draymond Green, where he's like, we're the ones who make them the money. Like, why aren't we getting paid? Why aren't we getting our payday? And I think that's special. Like that's great to hear.
Yeah.
But you see teams like Ballmer and the Clippers and the Warriors with all their money. They spend a lot of money because they make a lot of money. So I think a lot of it is you don't want the richer teams to just bully their way into free agency, and then I guess the move is to help the middle, because all these moves are always like to help like the smaller market teams keep their players, to stop them from going to bigger market teams and things like that. But I mean, there's going to be situations down the line, like you were saying, Z, where, teams are going to they're not going to be able to re-sign players to crazy big contracts because they're not going to be able to do that threshold.
Yeah. I mean, we can keep using the Warriors as just an example, but I mean, with the amount that they're under, I mean, they pay Curry $48 million. Klay Thompson $40 million, Andrew Wiggins $33 million, Draymond Green $25 million. They got to let go of somebody. Somebody's gonna have to be let go if they want to.
Actually, there's a variety. Talking about that, like to use different examples. According to this new rule, the Suns would not have been able to do the Kevin Durant trade. The Warriors would not have been able to do the Andrew Wiggins trade. Andrew Wiggins helped them win a championship. Kevin Durant is Kevin Durant. So you're already going to see like the gravity of these moves that are going to not be able to be made because teams technically aren't allowed to, pay their players. And just let me look.
Wow, that actually, in a way, it makes, I feel like the rest of this year at least a little bit more interesting, because now that like after the season's over, these teams are going to have to make moves.
I don't think it. I think they said it's kicking in over time. So it's
like a couple years down the road, or
yeah, like I think because these are all like legacy contracts, they can't do anything now, so they're not going to make teams completely like change their roster. But like say like when Klay's contract comes up, they're going to have to make a decision. When Draymond Green's contract comes up, they're going to have to make a decision.
Oh, the agreement, it says the agreement will carry through the next 7 seasons, from 2023-24 season through the 2029-2030 season. And so I guess it does start next year.
Yeah.
So when does Klay's contract end?
I'll tell you right now.
I think Klay's on his last year or second to last year. I think next year might be his last year. Because I think I remember hearing him talk about that as well.
Yeah, second to last year.
All right, so he's on one more.
Yeah, he's on one more. Next year he's due 43.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So basically, like
same with Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole just got a max.
Yeah.
That again doesn't even go into play until next season, I think, because he's still on his last year of
rookie deal. Yeah.
Look at that.
And then, bro, now they're gonna pay like a whole starting lineup max contracts.
But they're paying them. I mean, that's a good thing though. Like it's not like they're like Jordan Poole. They're not like It's not like Jordan Poole. They went out.
They broke the bank.
Dude,
yeah, but
did.
They make that much money though.
They paid him $3.9 million this year. Next year he's getting 28, and then 30, and then 33, and then 35.
Yeah, because he's making way more money. He's making way more money. I think Hero's making like on average like he's making 24, 25 per year. It was a 5-year, $125 million deal. But I think Hero's getting out. Hey man, Mickey,
as long as you can play, man, as long as you can deliver, that's it. I don't care how much we pay. I don't care, but as long as
but you know who cares?
Delivers.
Mickey Arison doesn't like paying players or giving them money. And then the front office too, unless it's Duncan Robinson. Like the thing with like roster
Duncan Robinson
construction
is the 4th most paid player on our team, and I'm pissed. I'm so pissed. Why? He comes in 2 times a game to miss a couple threes and do nothing else.
Dude, the roster construction of our team is insane. Like once you look at like championship level teams, like if you look at the Celtics with Brad Stevens, if you look at the Bucks, like how they get role players that are good for Giannis. Like the first year they traded for Drew Holiday, they won a championship. Get Bam a point guard. Like, don't get him a washed up like 30, 35 plus year old Kyle Lowry. Get him a real like point. Like
Yeah, we pay Kyle Lowry $28 million.
we talked about the DeMontis Sabonis trade. How did we can't get Halliburton? We can't trade somebody to get Halliburton because they were apparently just giving him away.
We could have gone John Wall.
Yeah, I mean,
dude,
he has a big contract too. Though. He's sitting on a big contract.
We owe Duncan 18 mil next year.
So yeah, speaking about CBAs and things like that, the MLBPA actually organized and led a negotiation with the MLB with a minor league CBA. So the minor leaguers actually they get paid. I want to say double. Basically, all the numbers I was looking at, they were paid. They got paid a lot more, which still isn't a lot. Like I think the highest, like so if you're in AAA, like you go from making 17 to making 35, things like that. But this is just a quick tidbit to add in there. Unions work, and unions get you to get paid more money. And organizing your labor power, organizing your ability to strike and be able to, because you, at the end of the day, you as a worker, just really quick, you generate the wealth, you generate the money, and the rhetoric that you have to pay too much of this and that is bullshit. You make more money in a union. It's statistically proven the workers don't get paid less once they join a union. So again, like this is a great example where you see players come together and use their power to organize and get in contact with the MLBPA and get a better deal for themselves and for their families and for their future. And I think that's really important. And again, one of the emphasis of this show is to entertain you guys, obviously, but to also inform you and educate you and try to give a entertaining experience throughout that whole process. And I think it's really important that we have this conversation because you guys, we're all players at the end of the day. We're all workers in our lives. We're not. I mean, the majority of these people listening to the show, you're not a billionaire owner. You're not the people that have the billions of dollars that are able to spend $140 million on a team to generate billions of dollars. Similar to what Draymond was saying, like you generate billions of dollars as a worker, and maybe not your single facility and not on the micro level, but as a worker, the work that you do, the labor that you do, you produce and generate the value of whatever company you're at. So I think it's important to acknowledge that. And another thing that Draymond tweeted that I thought was really like poignant was that 8 months before Draymond got there, the team was worth $550 million. It was sold for $550 million. Now that same team is worth close to $6 billion.
Yep.
So this idea that owners can't pay, it's a great thing that the owners are paying them more money, that they have 5 max contracts, they're breaking the bank. That's what they should do. That's what you should do. You're like, because if you compare the amount of wealth that they produced and that they generated over those years, and then you look at the salary cap, it drops in a bucket. So I want to really bottom line this whole conversation by emphasizing that point, that labor unions work, that you should do what's best for you and your family and organize your labor power to come together and create a better future for yourself.
Absolutely.
And collectively, right?
Yeah.
This idea of a collective bargaining agreement is something that the players come together. They have a union. They're able to organize. They're able to demonstrate. In previous struggles, like the NBA PA was able to conduct a strike. The lockout year, I want to say it was 2011. Yeah. And that was when they were able to get these great contracts that they have now, to where you have players like Tobias Harris making 38 million. And he's just a role player. So I think it's a good thing. I think it's a great thing. I think it's a great point to bottom line and really emphasize in this conversation.
Absolutely. It's a movement, brings positive change, and this goes for every single sport. I mean, we've seen strikes going on in the NFL. We've seen strikes going on in the MLB. We've seen strikes going on in the NBA, and it's all for almost the same reason. These players know what they're worth, and they deserve to get that.
Yeah, and like Sonny said, I mean, the teams are worth billions, and
it's almost selfish not to like, as an owner, to not like go all out for your team and supply.
And look at because so much of it is just an investment, and again, like drawing on our first episode, it is a business, right? Like I think people who consume the product are seeing that more and more, because if you guys remember, I want to say the years that the year that the Rams won the Super Bowl, I saw a lot of tweets where people were like, "Why does the owner get the trophy first? He didn't do anything." And I think that sentiment is really important, to where like, yeah, he signs the checks, but the players are the ones who win the game. They're the ones who go out there. They're the
Yeah.
ones who risk their health, who risk their livelihoods to go out and win a game for our entertainment. And if the players are able to do it, if people who play a game collectively they're able to understand that their labor power, why aren't you? You know, if you work at a Target, you work at Amazon, you work at these companies that are experiencing record high profits while workers don't get paid like starvation through inflation, and you see a government that's not willing to help you, you know, it really is something to where, you know, the only thing you really have is your collective power, right? And that's another thing to emphasize in this is that individually you can only do so much. You know, if you look like let me in terms of like your individual power. If you look at LeBron James' career earnings in the NBA, it's less than $500 million. And you look at the amount of wealth that LeBron James has produced for the city of Cleveland, for whatever team he goes to, the championships that he's won, the performances that he's done, and he's not even worth $500 million to the billions of dollars that he generates. Come on now,
and
you know,
LeBron James. Come on.
I mean, there were literally studies shown about LeBron James's impact in Cleveland, about his economic impact to the city and how beneficial it was to the city when LeBron James was playing there and versus when he left.
Yeah, I remember seeing that too.
So I really want to underline this conversation with that little rant.
Yeah, no, as well put.
No, it's a great point. I mean, that should apply to everyone. I mean, do what's best for you.
Yeah.
Negotiate your pay.
Yeah.
No matter what you do, whether it's sports or, you know, you're in a different profession, I mean, it's the same thing. You're generating, you know, wealth to these big companies, and yeah, like you said,
Know your worth.
the only thing we have is collective power. So,
but speaking of that though, Lamar Jackson, he requested a trade officially on March 2nd. He came out with a statement this past week. I know we covered him last week, and we're just gonna, you know, touch on this real quick. I mean, who could have seen this coming, right?
Yeah, right.
Where's he gonna go? Well, who's gonna want him?
Speaking of know your worth,
I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know how that plays out.
Like from what we said from the last episode, you know, it's not too different. Like except for that he requested the trade, but I mean, it's almost like we saw it coming, and it's like because we have no idea exactly what's going on.
What the negotiations are like
with the Ravens, and what the and what the negotiations are like. So it's I don't even know like where I stand with it. Of course, I love Lamar and I want him to get paid and get everything that he's worth. But I feel like these, you know, like what was the word you were using last time with the owners are kind of getting together
colluding.
To bring this market down a little. Yeah, colluding. They're bringing this down to kind of bring the market down a little bit. But
because they control the market at the end of the day.
Exactly, they do. And I mean, even though the Browns kind of messed that up with Deshaun Watson, and he knows his worth, so he thinks he's worth that much now, and he is. So it's just a very weird situation all around. I can't wait to see it kind of unfold and see what happens, and see if anyone's willing to trade for him, see if anyone or if the Ravens are willing to give him what he's worth.
Have you guys seen? Did you guys see? Because it was very interesting the time he came out with that statement, and it was covered kind of in depth. It was during like the league meetings. Right, so the coaches were all out there. They were like giving interviews and stuff about like different situations. And the second John Harbaugh went up there, he tweeted that statement where, you know, I requested
everybody
a trade,
flooded his podium,
clarity. Right? And John Harbaugh's like, I hope to have Lamar back. I want my quarterback back next year. Like, what else can you really say when you're in that situation?
He was put on such a spot. Like,
I don't know
on the
about
podium
that.
at the NFL meetings, and it's like.
But I think that was smart on Lamar's part.
To like force it. It was great because you really like see how bullshit this whole thing was. Because you're telling like the Falcons coach and the Falcons owner that were like, Lamar's a phenomenal player, but we're gonna ride with Desmond Ridder as our quarterback. Like, get the what? You have the cap space to sign him?
Really say that?
Yeah, he was like, yes. Bro. They're like, we're sticking with Desmond Ridder. That's what he said. He was like, Lamar's a phenomenal player. He's a phenomenal talent, but we're sticking with that. Like, what? Like you can, dude. Like if there's no like you know the Brian Flores contract about racism and all that, and like how that's going on. That use this clip. Someone needs to use this clip and be like, bro, like
it makes no sense to me
Like,
because
bro.
the Falcons
I didn't even know
they've
that
put
shit.
in work this offseason. You know, they've gotten
Yeah.
players in free agency. They've done it all, and they're gonna have a good draft, I believe. And you know, why not get that last piece that you really need? Desmond Ritter's not gonna fucking bring you to a Super Bowl. I'm sorry,
Desmond Ridder?
dude. I mean,
Wow.
who
It's
knows?
insane.
I mean, the
I
kid
mean,
has
it's
potential for
insane.
sure, but it's just like you know what you're getting on a Lamar, and if that's the piece that can help you get over the edge, why would you
Imagine
do
it was
that?
imagine it was Justin Herbert.
Oh
Imagine,
yeah.
like imagine it was Herbert. You know?
I don't even want to like.
He would have
go
already
into
been traded for 2 weeks
Exactly.
ago.
There's so much. And people.
He would. I
don't
don't
bring
even
that
want
up.
to like. It's hard to like. It's like kind of like an elephant in the room because like you don't want to get into it, but I mean,
The NFL,
yeah, like
I
you
will
said,
say,
if
the
it's
NFL,
Burrow or Herbert, they would have been gone. They
the
would have
NFL is
been
very
gone.
good at kind of masking the racism that you see within the entire process of like free agency, within the process of like coaching and things like that.
Yeah,
And I think this is another
interviewing
like
and
great
stuff,
example of how Lamar was covered out of college, how he's being covered right now. Is just a great case study into how like what the media does to these people. Like they were like, "Oh, Lamar's a running back out of college," and then he came in and he literally destroyed that entire narrative, and he won the MVP. And he was like, "I'm a real dual threat." You know what I'm saying? Better than Mike Vick. And you just see like how the narrative with him was always like he came into the league and there was already animosity because he proved so many people wrong. And now
Right.
like people are saying like, "Oh, you know, he's been off too much more than he could chew or whatever, and then you know he should get an agent, blah blah blah." And they all have these critiques ready for him because they were all ready for him like before, you know. And it's a crazy contract. It's someone who's 26 years old, generational talent, former MVP. There's so much like it doesn't make sense how he's not getting the money that he wants.
And he knows it too.
There's no logical explanation.
I think it's great how he's forcing their hand now, like with the whole like trade thing. And
He's kind of
obviously another thing that's going to happen
level.
is like we were talking about with Joe Burrow and Herbert. Dude, Joe Burrow is about to get extended insanely. We already know that. We all know that. And once that happens, I mean, like that's their division.
Gonna reset again.
The market's going to reset again, but not even that. How dumb are the Ravens going to look? What are you going to let go of Lamar Jackson after they just extended Joe Burrow for the years to come? Like, dude, you guys, this guy is amazing. Bro, like, you need to keep up with that. And Lamar is what's going to help you.
Especially with how tough the AFC is.
I mean, dude, if you talk about it in the context of football and making sense, they would have given him as much money as he wanted a long time ago. But because it's a business and because the owners don't want to give out these contracts, that's where the real sticking point is. And like you were saying with Burrow, with Herbert, with these other quarterbacks that have extensions coming up, I really wonder how their contract negotiations go. Because the thing with Lamar is like, okay, say Lamar doesn't, like Lamar needs to stand out kind of, because if he doesn't, those players may sign deals that are way less than what they're worth, you know? And this is kind of back to the point of like what we were talking about with Mahomes and Josh Allen. Is like they didn't do Lamar any favors, but Lamar kind of has the responsibility now to really kind of set the market for Burrow, for Herbert, for these other cats. And I really do wonder, because if Herbert gets signed first, for example, right, if he gets his extension for Jalen Hurts too, we didn't even mention him. That extension is going to be a monster extension.
Oh yeah.
And they've been letting people go so that they have the money to actually pay him.
Yeah.
A lot of these quarterback contracts, it's going to be something interesting to see where like how much they pay their players, how much they, you know, like what they kind of got going on. I wish Miami would trade for Lamar. I think that would be insane. I think that would be the missing piece to literally win a Super Bowl. Is like, and people were saying like Tua's like ability or whatever. Bro, if you can get, this is the thing, like when it comes to this conversation with Tua and everything, and I don't want to get too into it.
Did you see that tweet Tyreek said? Availability.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, yeah." He's
like, your quarterback he doesn't have that ability yet.
Yeah, exactly. Like, no, the thing was, I think that conversation with Lamar and Tua is something where it's like, dude, you're gonna have to pay Tua. You know, like I think that's what people don't like. Like all the Tua fans, it's great. You should support your quarterback. It's phenomenal, but you're gonna have to pay that man. Like Like, cause now you saw the contract that Daniel Jones got. So Daniel Jones got like 40 mil. I want to say it's not like fully guaranteed, but the first 2 years are like heavily, like it's front loaded heavily. So he has like a lot of money those 2 years. And then the last 2 years, if he's doing well, they could renegotiate an extension, blah, blah, blah. But he got paid. So now Tua's going to go into and Daniel Jones isn't really that good. And you saw Tua when he's healthy, he did great orchestrating this offense. So this is his 5th year now, right? So they picked up his 5th year option. This is his 5th year.
Yeah, he's getting paid like 20 or 30 mil or something like that.
Yeah, which is phenomenal. But it's like, would you rather pay Tua like in the 40 mil range, or would you just give Lamar whatever he wants and it may be like $10 million more, but now you have Lamar Jackson and you're clearly a team. You're clearly a team that wants to win right now. Like you're signing like Jalen Ramsey. You have Tyreek Hill. You have Jalen Waddle on a rookie contract. You have Christian Wilkins, who's also on a rookie contract. You have all these contracts coming up that you're gonna have to pay. You're gonna have to let people go. You have Javon Holland. So you're very much a win right now team.
Yeah, I mean, with the addition of Jalen Ramsey and Bradley Chubb at the end of last season, I mean, it is going to be a big help for their defense. They also have Vic Fangio, and their defense was obviously the biggest hole in their whole team.
Yeah.
And when Tua was healthy, I guess it's just a matter of health. I mean, when he was healthy, I mean, I'm a Jets fan, bro. It's hard for me to praise the Dolphins, but I mean, he was playing lights out in those games where he was healthy. He was first in the league in yards, first in the league in like yards per game, yards like on average per throw, like everything. All those categories he was number one in. And it was like, I mean, he has that team around him. He's just got to stay healthy because, I mean, what happens if he's not healthy this year? Their backup is now Mike White.
Yeah. Mike White's actually really – he's a demon, though. He's got to be better than Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that 100%. But, I mean, Mike White is not the guy that's going to bring you to the playoffs or bring you to – we had a chance to go to the playoffs with Mike White last year. I mean –
No, I'm telling you, I think the market for Lamar should be a lot bigger than it is. And again, we don't know everything. We're not a lot of news has come out. We just know that he requested a trade, and clearly this has been very like hush hush from both sides because we didn't even know he requested the trade. We just know that he was given a non-exclusive franchise tag. So I think it's going to be an interesting situation where like Las Vegas is a good spot for him.
The Colts.
The Colts are
just
another.
Cut Matt Ryan, right? Yeah.
So they're another team who should do it too, 100%.
Yeah, that like it makes sense to because we were saying earlier, Z, like this is a move that kind of puts you over the top. I would say it's more. This is like this is a franchise cornerstone. Having a franchise quarterback nowadays is so important to winning. You're not going to win a championship without one. You know what I'm saying? Like there's no like defense really carrying you all the way anymore. I don't think in a league that's so like run and gun, fast pace, like scoring. I mean, if you just look at like the past couple Super Bowls where it was Patrick Mahomes, it was Matt Stafford and Cooper Kupp, like it's not the real one was with the Rams and Aaron Donald. I mean, unless you have Aaron Donald, like
that's actually a good example of a team who has everything and just needs a good quarterback to get them over the edge. They get Matt Stafford and they go and win a Super Bowl. Like, it's almost like it's common sense. Like, come on.
Right.
And Lamar's 26.
And we can look at the last, like I just pulled it up. We can look at the last 10 years of Super Bowl winners, and I mean, all of them are franchise quarterbacks. None of them are in there with like nobodies. I mean, you have Kansas City, obviously Mahomes. Stafford comes in for the Rams. Tom Brady for the Green Bay. Mahomes again. Tom Brady. Actually, the only one I would say that's not is Philadelphia in the last 10 years.
With Nick Foles, right?
That's the only one. But
they had a quarterback.
But that was like that was a crazy like Cinderella run though. Like
they had a quarterback the whole year.
Right, that was unbelievable.
Yeah, they had Wentz and then he tore his ACL.
I mean,
and then even before that, then it was Brady, then it was Peyton Manning, then it was Russell Wilson, then it was
Big Ben and all them boys,
Eli Manning. So
crazy.
Just goes to show. I mean, you could have a. I'm not saying Philly.
And also another team, the Commanders. The Commanders, right? Like that's another team that they could use a quarterback. They don't have one.
Their situation is so strange because it's like they're switching owners right now.
They actually got both.
2 bids, I believe.
Yeah, they got so the Canadian billionaire excuse me for pronouncing it wrong.
Steve Apostopoulos.
Yeah, thank you. He got paid. He sent in a $6 billion bid after another investment group which had Magic Johnson as an investor. I'm sorry to the other investors. Magic Johnson is the only name that I'm familiar with in that group.
Yeah. No, it's I think the other guy is Josh Harris, and he's actually the owner of the 76ers and the New Jersey Devils.
Oh, look at you, Zach.
So he's an owner, like he's on it. So but
that's the other thing is a lot of these like just a quick tangent real quick is a lot of these owners, they're owners of multiple teams in multiple leagues. So it's not like it's all money in, it's fully invested, like locked in 100% into this team and in this this hoorah, like that we have to win. The owner doesn't really care. Like this is an investment to him. Like Stan Kroenke, I think he owns like a hockey team. He owns a Premier League team. He owns the Rams. Like they have like expansive portfolios. So it's not really winning and losing. It increases the value of your team for sure, but it's not like this expenditure of passion that it is for the players because it's their like entire livelihoods. It's a business investment for a lot of these owners.
Absolutely.
And I agree.
The thing with Dan and a lot of the owners don't receive any accountability ever for their actions, and that's something you see with Dan Snyder, who is perpetually one of the biggest pieces of shit that you will ever read about anything ever.
And a guy like him just does not care about the Commanders. He does not care. He's just trying to get his money in. He doesn't care who he sells it to.
And guess and look at his punishment. A $6 billion. $6 billion. That like all the sexual harassment scandals, all the bullshit he's done with
Hey,
Sean
don't worry,
Taylor.
he's gonna get $6 billion back though.
Yeah, exactly. That's his kind of revenge, and he's trying to hold the league hostage where he's like, I won't sell the team until I get guarantees that no one's gonna like come out with the fraudulent shit that I was doing while I was running this team. So
he's such a clown.
And that's the punishment.
That's crazy.
The owners don't get punished. That's what I hope. Again, like the staunch difference between being a worker, being a player, and being an owner is something that is radically different. It is not like remotely the same thing, a similar situation, nothing like that. Like and then in leagues that are so quote unquote passionate. It's another example of this. If you want to go to the NBA, right? James Dolan and the Knicks. James Dolan doesn't give a shit about the Knicks. I hope everyone understands that. But you want to know why? Because the Knicks are going to be worth. They're going to be whatever they're worth now. It's only going to go up because they're in New York. Because they're in New York. That's it. That there's
the
no
market's too big.
Exactly. There's no for a basketball team.
Same thing goes with the Jets too. I mean, we have been one of the worst teams in the past decade, and we are I think we're top 5 in most valuable franchises.
There's no incentive, and that's the thing is like with these smaller markets is like the Bay Area, like Golden State for example, like a lot of like the tech boom helped the city overall, like the wealth in the city grow and everything. But when it comes to the Warriors specifically, bro, like they were bumped for $550 million, like before Draymond got 8 months before Draymond got there, like they weren't worth a whole lot of money. You know what I'm saying? And then they won a lot of championships and they grew, and then they became worth $6 billion. But that's because they won so much and they increased the value of their team and they built a new stadium and there was a lot of new wealth coming in. The Knicks haven't done anything in the past 10 years and they're worth the same. They have the Knicks. When was the last time the Knicks won a championship?
Here, I'll tell you right now.
Like,
they haven't even been in the playoffs since like 2015.
Won a playoff series.
1973.
Won a playoff series, and they're gonna be worth that no matter what. So this whole
1973 was their last championship.
Yeah,
that's why I think like again, you have to approach sports like we love it and it's entertaining, and again, it's this whole thing. But dude, it's a game. It's a game. It's a game that's played. It's not this entire thing. It's just how it's marketed. Hey,
I'm gonna root for them if they go deep in the playoffs.
Who, the Knicks?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they win something.
Yeah.
And imagine they're worth $6 billion right now.
Give him a
Dolan,
couple championships, dude.
Dolan owns the stadium too. He owns MSG. So you think like he couldn't give a shit if the Knicks won or not. He's literally printing money, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they have events there every single day. It's not.
And do the other thing with that is there's also
I think
revenue
that's
sharing.
I think that's actually where the Final Four was, if I'm not mistaken.
No,
Or maybe
Elite
it was.
Eight.
Oh, that's where
Elite
the
Eight.
Elite
The
Eight.
Final
Okay.
Four was in Houston.
Oh, you're right. Okay.
Yeah.
But still, I mean, they're having crazy events like that all the time. It doesn't necessarily matter if the Knicks are playing good or not.
Exactly.
Like,
it's a business, dude. Again, it's a business, and that's why they can approach the game. They're not as competitive as the other teams, and they're pretty negligent because they don't put like, I guess, the amount of effort or the time in to kind of build something. Because James Dolan's out here like kicking out Charles Oakley, and anyone who kind of talks bad about him or his ownership stint is getting kicked out of the arena, and he's like a little dictator there. And then he has like, I want to say he set up like bio software to where like it can scan if you're someone who's talked shit about him or the Knicks, and he won't let you in the building. Like he's more worried about that than he is about the quality of the Knicks product, you know, like
right.
And I mean, it's the same thing. Like you see something similar like with the Lakers, like LeBron went there because he wanted to go to LA, but before LeBron went there, after Kobe, those Kobe years, you know. I mean, the twilight of his career, they weren't really anything, you know, great.
The years in between Kobe and LeBron were such like it's like a black hole for that organization. Like, I don't even remember what was going on.
They were not. they were. Those were the dark times for them, you know. And I think even the Heat are worth. I want to say the Heat are worth like 3 point something like $1 billion. But that's another thing where it's their value estimation is something like we live in such a crazy market. Like we live in Miami, we live in paradise, right? I don't know how our teams aren't like Mickey Harrison we should get an owner that wants to spend money. I think that's the bottom line. Yeah. That's the bottom line.
Bottom line.
We should get an owner that wants to like just go crazy and because the thing with the Commanders and with some of these other like there's like classism for billionaires because there's billionaires that are like 100 billionaires like your Bezos. Like Dan Snyder didn't want to sell to Bezos because he was like fuck that. He was like I don't fuck with Bezos. He's like we're not they like billionaires have beef now type shit.
Yeah.
And he's like I'm not letting him buy the team no matter what. And you have some of these richer owners that are like I don't care, I'll pay the luxury tax because my team's gonna win and whatever. Yeah. And you know, like the owner for the Suns, the new owner for the Suns who bought it from the previous man, he just came in and he traded for KD his first day. And he's paying like a crazy amount, like in the luxury tax we just talked about, 22.9 plus the 17.5. Start getting into WrestleMania, night 1. Right?
Oh my god, dude! All right. So I haven't watched wrestling or WWE in a while, but I was able to catch a little bit of WrestleMania last night, and what caught my eye is how fun the stories still are. Because I jumped into WrestleMania, I see Rey Mysterio getting into it with his own son, and his son is like portrayed as like this bad kid or whatever, and he like doesn't like his mom. He like tells his mom to shut up in the middle of the ring and stuff. Like I don't know if you saw that. She slapped him on camera. Yeah, it was so funny. But
I didn't see that.
And Rey Mysterio, like I guess he made the Hall of Fame or something for the WWE.
Yeah, he did.
Recently,
he did.
So.
He made it on Friday.
So yeah, it was just like it's so cool the stories that they still have going on. Like you can just jump right into it.
Bro,
and still get entertained by it. And, like,
it's so crazy. It's such like the product is so crazy, and WrestleMania is obviously like the biggest like spectacle. It's like their Super Bowl, right? And you see, and it's in LA, and you see so many people there. You see the stars out. It was honestly like an insane event. But just
real quick, something that because I as a kid I watched more of it. Now I haven't really been keeping up with it. But one thing that I did notice that they are doing is they are really engaging with all these influencers and kind of giving them a chance, and that kind of like keeps them relevant. You know, they're doing it. It's a smart move. Like with Logan Paul, with KSI, like all these guys are like coming in and they're giving them.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah, Bad Bunny. There you go. Yeah, when he had his one show out there. But
he's actually hosting he's hosting the pay-per-view in like I want to say the next pay-per-view or in a couple months. It's gonna be in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Oh wow!
So he's gonna be he's actually hosting that event.
Oh
That's
wow.
lit.
for WWE, and
That's crazy.
Bad Bunny's actually had a wrestling match in WWE before,
Yeah,
where he
yeah.
went
Yeah.
stupid. Like
Yeah,
like
it was
he,
in WrestleMania like 2 years
Yeah.
ago. It was the one down here in Tampa. I think that was like the last event.
dude,
I
Logan
saw.
Paul's also in it. He's actually really good. Like
He's
he's
very
a good
good.
wrestler.
He's
He's a
very,
really
very
good
good.
wrestler.
Yeah,
Very
he does.
athletic, very entertaining
Yeah.
too. I mean,
I
I think
saw-
I
you
think
saw
it's
the-
keeping them relevant.
You saw the clip
For
of
sure.
the guy, like he was about to frog splash him onto the table,
Bro,
and he pulls KSI onto
yeah.
the table and he jumps on him. Like,
That was so sick. That was
like,
so
it's so
sick.
It's so funny, and it's so like it's just really entertaining and really cool to watch. I love the way that they run things.
They got night
Yep.
2 tonight, so maybe I'll take a look.
So
at
night-
it.
it's a 2-night.
It's a
thing.
2-night,
Yeah.
bro. It's a 2-night.
Oh, wow.
And night one was insane. I sound like such like a mark right now. It was so insane and so like there was so much shit going on, and it was such a great event. But night 2 is like the main event. Like night 2, you have like Brock Lesnar, you have Roman Reigns, you have like the heavy hitters, like the superstars
Who
really
is
coming out.
the I guess main
The
event?
John Cena. It's basically like Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns
Right.
is like he's insane.
But
He's
is
nuts.
there like is he facing someone for the main event? Like is there
Yeah,
a set
he's
match?
so it's gonna be Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes. So
Yeah,
Roman
they're
Reigns,
they're both huge now.
yeah, Roman is like he's the heavyweight. He's been the champion for like he's been a champion of one of the belts for a year now, but he's been a champion of the other belt for like years. Like he's been carrying that shit on his back.
So the main
And-
event is today. It's for the WWE Universal Champion, which is
Yep.
Reigns, against Cody Rhodes. Reigns has
No,
had the
Reigns
title
has both. He has both titles.
Yeah, that's why it's called the Universal, because there's
Yeah.
2. So and Reigns has had it for over 900 days.
He's the
He's been the
undisputed champion. Undisputed
yeah.
champion.
And that's tonight at WrestleMania 39. But
Yeah.
a lot of people are saying he might lose it. So
Yeah.
I mean, might have to see then. I might have to see.
Yeah, I mean, just to run through like the card from last night. Cena versus Theory was pretty good. I mean, John
Cena win?
No, he did not. He lost.
He was my favorite. He was
Theory,
my
yeah,
favorite growing up.
Austin Theory won. It was that was
Him
probably
and
like
Hardy were my favorite.
Yeah,
Whoa!
that was probably one of the
I'm
worst
looking up-
events.
I'm looking up the match, like the I guess fight card. You could say
Yeah.
Edge is fighting tonight.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
Edge.
That's cool.
So
Yeah.
that's something I'll be interested in for sure. Because I mean,
Yeah.
I loved him growing up, and it looks like it's a Hell in a Cell match. So that's
Yep.
like
Damn.
that's the
Against
one where they
who?
like drop the cage around the ring, right?
yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They,
Who's that
they have
against?
like this whole thing going on.
Finn Balor. I don't know
Balor.
who that is. Yeah.
He's a good wrestler. But
That's
yeah,
Wait.
crazy.
Oh, and then there's a woman showcase, and it's Liz Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez versus Natalia and Shotzi versus Ronda Rousey
Mhm.
and another
Interesting.
girl. So like,
yeah.
I forgot Ronda went into that. I forgot she
Yeah.
went into that.
and then
Maybe
you got
she's
Brock
winning.
Lesnar too, which is pretty cool. Yeah, that's really interesting though. I mean,
Yeah. I'll run through
And
the
we
card
got-
from last night though.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the second match on the card last night was the tag match, and then that was also insane. Everyone's kind of flying everywhere, jumping everywhere. I want to say it was Ricochet, like a shooting star press, like on the top apron, like the 2 guys on the ground. There was so much like moves going on in that match. It was crazy because there was like, I want to say like 2, 4, like 8 competitors or something like that, and they're all competitive. So it was a crazy event. And then the Rollins versus Logan match, obviously, where Logan and the spot where he pulled KSI onto the table and he just frog splashed him on the table after doing the Triple H celebration. That was crazy. And then Seth ended up winning that one. And then the Becky Lita Trish versus that one. I mean, I know like Lita and I know Lita, Trish, and Becky, but I'm not like too familiar with.
that was a title fight too, I think, right?
I think it was like the women's tag team
Women's, yeah.
championships. So that was pretty entertaining. Becky Lita Trish, they won. The one with Ray versus Dom, that was a crazy crazy
that's where
match.
I jumped into it. I thought that
It
was
was-
really cool.
Dude, it was so like Ray's got to be like 40 something now, and he's doing these crazy moves.
That's crazy.
He's still doing the
That is
619. Like what? Like it was
Yeah,
crazy.
he-
Like
I
watching
like
that
that a
match.
lot.
Speaking of bringing outside people too, didn't they have Pat McAfee and George
Yeah.
Kittle in
Yeah.
there?
Dude, they had okay. So what happened was the next match on the card was Charlotte versus Rhea, and that was like the women's championship match. It was great. It was one of the best events of the show. it really like it kind of stole the show. Like if the main event wasn't as good as it was, that fight would have main evented it. But what happened after that fight was like they had this little like basically like a stall where they needed more time. So they came out like the Miz comes out and he's like doing his whole fucking shtick, and then Pat McAfee's music hits and he comes out and he's at WrestleMania and
As yesterday,
and Snoop Dogg was like, all right, like we're gonna set up a match, and so it was the Miz versus like Pat McAfee, and then so they're having this match and the Miz pushes George Kittle. George Kittle's outside. He jumps over the barrier and he just clotheslines the hell out of Miz, throws him in the ring, and Pat McAfee is a punter, so he hits him with a punting finisher. And that's his finisher was like a punt. So his finisher was a punt, and then they celebrated in the ring or whatever.
Like a big kick to the face type
thing.
Basically. That's so funny. Yeah, I'm reading the headline right now. Pat McAfee returns. He beats the Miz with the help of 49er star George Kittle. Like, what a headline that is.
That's so crazy. And that's the other thing is like they've kind of gone more modern with the influencer thing too, you know?
Yeah, they keep up with it, which is awesome.
Yep. And then the main event last night was just so crazy. I know you guys don't watch wrestling like that, but this like storyline has been going on for like a year now, and it's basically like the Usos, they're a part of this bigger faction. Like it's called you're presenting now? Yeah, this thing. He pushed them, and then it's going so slow. It's recording like in like 0.5 speed.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
George Kittle turns around.
I just want to see the clothesline.
Boom! It's crazy.
Dude,
I'm dead. That's crazy.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, that's and then funny. So that happens, right? That whole situation happens, and then the main event of the night is some crazy shit with basically like the Usos who were fighting. They're part of like this bigger faction called like with Roman Reigns, and they're like it's like the Bloodline. That's what they're called. And the Usos have held the championship for like 2 years now. Like this whole thing's going on, and they're fighting Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn, like just a quick summary of the story was he was a part of that faction. He was a part of that group for like a good amount of months, like 6 to 9 months. And he was doing like this whole thing with them. He was part of their group, and Kevin Owens was his best friend before. And then basically like they were beating up Kevin Owens, I think at Royal Rumble, and Sami Zayn like he couldn't do it anymore, and he hit Roman with a chair shot, and then so he basically like he betrayed the Bloodline, and then they all turned on him, and it's been like this whole angle. It's been one of the best storylines in like this like WrestleMania WWE history, and it kind of it culminated last night with Kevin Owens and Sami winning, and they won the tag team championships and blah blah blah, and it was a great main event. And
nice.
Tonight is looks like it's gonna be similarly great. It's
yeah, I'm definitely
hard to top it.
But... Definitely gonna tune into that.
But that's all we have for you guys today. Thank you all for watching.
Yes,
thank you for tuning in.
Thanks,
comment, like, subscribe, give us ideas, give us comments, what you think on anything.
Yeah, let us know. Thank you guys so much.
Guys.
Till next
later,
week.
Guys. Till next week.